Hello YouTubers, Joe Kersey here on Sunday, March 11th, 2018, and it's 5 in the morning Eastern Daylight Time. And look, there's a package. What's in it? Why, it's a Canon Power Shot GX9. I want to take a test drive of this bad boy here. Well, we're waiting for the battery to charge now. I'll be interested to see how long that takes. Here's the bad boy in question. Oh, swaying around, Joe. Downloaded the manual and a little software. So we can see what all the little symbols mean. Here's the first shot I took with it. I was actually trying to focus on the heater, but instead I guess it chose to focus on my boot. I just wanted to see kind of how sharp this thing was, because on the screen, even though it's a fairly nice screen, it's sort of your standard 3-inch LCD screen. It's not all that sharp, particularly when I've got to do like this kind of stuff. This was shot in auto mode on the 85mm equivalent focal length setting. It does offer you the option of setting 28, 35, 50, and 85 equivalent, to 35mm camera designations. Instead of just having to do continuous zoom, which is kind of a nifty feature. I like that. That way you don't have to get that buzzy, clicky sound of the motor running when it's moving the lens. And I basically just wanted to see how sharp this thing was, and of course, you can't really get a proper hold on these things because you've got to sort of hold them out in front of you. And I wanted to see what the resolution would be when I was shooting at print. This was taken probably about 7 feet across the room here from that shutterfly box. This one was shot on still on the 85mm equivalent setting, but I was about 3 feet closer, and I wanted to see how I could prefix the focus on the shutterfly and then move off to the side and see if it would still stay in focus, and do a little bit of blurring the stuff that off to the side and back. With it. Seemed to work out pretty well, I think. Here I was testing my, let's see, this was the shutter priority mode. They call it TV on the mode dial in this thing. And I set it for 250th of a second. And the camera ended up using it, shooting it at f4 and ISO 1600. Tilt City, isn't it, huh? So the last one I shot in the aperture priority mode, which is the AV setting on the mode dial.
I selected f4. I generally like to shoot, if I can, around f4. Anyway, if particularly when I'm using my Leicas, because the human eye actually sees at f2.8 for the most part, and you got enough depth of field with f4 that it covers a bit of a focusing error. Interestingly, the camera selected to choose this, shoot this at 1/60th of a second at ISO 3200, which I think this is a lot sharper. I clearly was moving around a lot on that shutter speed priority one last time. And I think I tend to do that when I'm setting really fast shutter speeds, because I think, well, I get away with a little, lack of discipline, and so I was clearly holding a lot more still this time around, on knowing that it was going to be perhaps a very slow shutter speed, but it turned out it didn't. They just boosted up the ISO. The camera just boosted up the ISO. So they must have a fairly reasonable algorithm in this thing from just a preliminary pass through on this stuff. Okay, well. I'm glad I got this. My little 320 HS is clearly sort of starting to fade away, So, of course, I had to shoot some test recordings too, of course. Well, let's see how this thing kind of does in the vlogging camera mode here. Try and keep from dropping it. There you go. Let's give it a little try here. I don't have it on my selfie stick. Yeah, I've been horsing around with it here, just the various modes and things. It's got a few more bells and whistles on it than my 320 HS, but I think it's going to be fun here. Hope so. Anyway, let's see if I can turn you off here.